So, I want to talk about the unexpected feelings that we may have about death. And the first thing I want to say is that the death itself may have been unexpected. So, that's one of the most common things when we talk about unexpected feelings. So, I want to validate that sometimes it does start with an unexpected death. And so, we're forced into a world that we may not have been prepared for. Oftentimes, we're not. And when we're forced into that world and we're dealing with death, a lot of unexpected feelings may come up. And one of the ones that often comes up, I get asked this all the time, and it really takes people back, is guilt. So let's talk about that. Guilt is very common. When somebody dies, we're always left wanting more, no matter what age they are. And I've been with people who have lost loved ones who are very young, and of course they want more. But I've also dealt with people whose mother, father, or grandparents die in their 90s or even over 100, and they were also left wanting more. And that feeling of wanted more often relates to maybe we didn't do it as well as we could have at the end, and we feel guilt about it. And when we feel guilt, we may say things like, if only I would have known it was their last year. If only I would have known it was their last day, I would have done it differently. And we feel guilty about how we did it, that last period. And some of you may feel guilty because something that happened at the end. Maybe you were in an argument, or maybe you were just at odds with them. So let me tell you how I can help you with that. The first thing I want you to think about is what you really must understand is that you were having a normal experience when an abnormal thing happened. For example, disagreements are normal in life. We have disagreements with people. However, them dying is not normal. Let me repeat that. You were doing normal things. You were busy. You were focused on other things. You may have been in the middle of an argument, which is normal, and then they died. And so you were left doing normal things before an abnormal experience happened. And so then we look back and we go, I can't believe I was arguing with them the day before they died. I can't believe I said that. I can't believe I wasn't there with them. And just know, it's so common to feel this way. And we all feel this way. I can tell you, the last time I saw my late partner, we had some heavy conversations, but I would have done it differently had I known that it was the last time I'd be seeing her. So what we have to remember at that point is that we can't go back and beat ourselves up for not knowing that it was the last day. I did the best I could with the knowledge I had. I didn't know, you didn't know, and you have to find compassion for yourself. So if you can find compassion, that often helps by realizing that you were doing a normal thing before the death happened. And so you are feeling all this pain, and you had no control or awareness of it. So let's release the guilt. I always say, your loved one died. Haven't you suffered enough? Isn't that enough? Now, if you did do something that you truly regret, find a quiet place, a spot where you feel peace, and just apologize to them. See, I believe that if you sincerely say it in your heart, they will hear it in theirs. So say it to them. If you are in an estranged family, I'm sure in the back of your mind you may have thought, okay, well, surely we will have a chance to work it out. And death robs us of that chance. When something like that happens and you're left feeling really terrible when they died, you can still go back and apologize and do a living amends. That's when you say, I was estranged from that family member and then they died. Let's recognize that and do a living amends for the rest of my life, that I want to work things out with family members, that I will never have an estranged relationship again. That commitment to never having an estranged relationship again is your living amends. Your apology to the person who died. And if you never got a chance to tell them that you love them, tell them now. Or do a living amends saying, for the rest of my life, I'm always going to apologize and say that I love you to people, even if we're fighting. Another issue that comes up a lot, I'm asked about survivor's guilt, that feeling of I should have died, not them. And so I always ask people, why? And they say, well, because their life was precious, because they had more to do, because they had a purpose. And I always say, don't you have a purpose? Don't you? Don't you have more to do? If their life was precious, isn't yours? And if you're not sure what your purpose is now, can you just be willing to wait for it to reveal itself and just trust that it will in time? But love them, and you can live a life that honors them. And their life may be gone, but that doesn't mean that they would ever want you to waste yours. Remember that. And also with guilt, remember this. In death, we often feel that we've lost all forms of control. And it's so much easier to feel guilt than to feel helpless. Even though it's painful, it makes us feel that we are in a bit of control when we choose guilt over helplessness.